Hey everybody, great to be talking to you today. My name is Martin Wall. I'm a Principal Program Manager at the Azure Engineering Group, and I'm here to be talking to you today about Azure Media Services, which is a very exciting part of our cloud platform. If you look at this very large and somewhat hard to read chart, what you'll see is where I'm going to be talking to you from, right here in the Media and CDN box, part of Azure and all of its platform services. So, video. Everybody's using it. We use it to communicate with each other, to entertain each other, educate, inform. We work together as employees of our company together, sharing videos. We watch live town hall meetings. We attend events. Our children are entertained by video. We watch video streaming on our mobile phones and our tablets. It is a big part of our life. And as such, we've come to learn that video is a huge part of how the cloud can be used today to distribute the way these processes are working. Azure Media Services is a part of Azure that really focuses on using the cloud to distribute video all around the world. And in doing so, our customers have been using the technologies and the features that we've built into Azure Media Services to both encode, distribute, and really transform the way our new businesses are entertaining and working today. I'm here to talk to you a lot about what Azure Media Services is capable of doing, and specifically what our customers around the world have been using these technologies to build, and what apps are being powered today by Azure Media Services. Before I go too deep into the customer examples that I have for you, I just want to take a brief moment to tell you about what are the base level services that we offer today. As you can see from this chart here, from left to right, where we start is taking any form of video content that you or your customers have built. And that can take the form of files or movies or pre-produced or post-produced content that you may have built. It can take the form of a live sporting event, a venue, a sports stadium. It could take the form of a town hall, a building, a corporate meeting room, an education lecture hall. Anywhere where you're going to take and capture video information and want to transmit it so that you can maximize the number of viewers who can see it. Now, of course, if you're in the business of sharing your videos, you might be doing this to sell those videos on a subscription basis or to advertise with those videos, or you might be just distributing around your internal organization. But once you have those videos uploaded to the cloud, then we offer through Azure Media Services a whole variety of components that enable you to encode that content to a standard video format, to intelligently search through that content to pull out meaningful metadata, to encrypt and protect that content, necessary for if you're going to monetize that content, or if that content that you have is proprietary in any way. In the fourth box here, what you can see is we are now providing a very high, powerful streaming capability. Now, of course, in today's world, everyone is very used to having a mobile device or a tablet or a browser that can click on something and have that video available instantaneously. No more waiting for it to download. And that is precisely what Azure Media Services offers in its streaming capabilities. And when you pair that with the global content distribution network capabilities that are also part of Azure Media Services, what you have is the ability to distribute your video content, whether it's on-demand files or live television programming, to any player client or browser anywhere in the world. This is a very significant capability that the cloud is offering to our customers today of Azure, and that we very much feel is going to really propel next generation services for all of our customers around the world. I'd like to talk to you now about a few of the use cases, some of the examples that we are seeing our customers have built around the world using Azure Media Services capabilities. The first area I want to focus on is around consumer portals. Now, many of you are very familiar with this. You have gone to a website or a mobile application, or perhaps you've downloaded an application onto any of your devices that give you access to movie content or television-based content that you watch on demand. Perhaps you go to a news site that also allows you to watch on-demand video programming about the latest headline news. So here's some examples that I've pulled to show you, and I'm even going to be able to switch my laptop to be able to see what they're doing right now. three examples that I have for you here. And the first, in the upper left-hand corner, you see our customer Blinkbox, which is an entertainment company located in the United Kingdom. And they have built an entertainment portal. They're offering movies and television content on demand to their subscribers. If I switch my laptop over to that right now, what you'll see is this is the Blinkbox application as it appears on Windows 10. But I should say that, of course, it's important that these same services are currently run on Android, on iOS devices, and all browsers ranging from Google Chrome to IE, Edge, and Safari. So regardless of the end device, Blinkbox is able to monetize and sell this kind of programming to their customers. And of course, they're offering a variety of the latest movies on demand, television shows that are very popular, and their subscribers are able to stream that content to their devices as they desire. All of this capability running in Azure and utilizing Azure Media Services. Another couple examples I can show you. In India, very popular source of entertainment and music programming, of course, from Bollywood, comes our customer called Hungama Entertainment. What does Hungama offer today? Well, of course, streaming music, entertainment, videos from around the Bollywood community that are very popular to their customers, not only in India, but as you can see, I'm accessing it here from the United States, which means that Hungama is able to monetize their content using the cloud to reach consumers anywhere in the world. And this is a very important and valuable part that the cloud can offer, really giving our customers the ability to expand and extend their audiences and their potential buyers of their content, no matter where they happen to be. And this is, of course, a very exciting website, in particular, if you really love and enjoy those Bollywood movies. Lastly, you'll notice I have an example up in the upper right-hand corner from CNN, of course, a major news programming source here in the United States. And what CNN is using Azure Media Services is to embed and enhance their own websites. This is an example screenshot from the last US election that took place, where CNN took videos, encoded them in Azure Media Services, and enhanced their own website to make it possible for you to watch almost in real time the latest gatherings of the election results as they were happening. In this way, viewers of CNN are able to get a better experience by using video than they might get just by reading text or looking at static graphics. Now, I think it would probably be helpful for many of you who aren't as familiar with Azure Media Services to get a sense for how this all works. So I wanted to introduce you to a very useful tool that we've made available to our customers. This is called the Azure Media Services Explorer tool. And while many of you know that Azure, of course, offers a vast and very powerful API, the ability for you to integrate anything within Azure into your programmatic applications, at Azure Media Services, we wanted to put this tool together so that for those of you who want to quickly utilize and demonstrate the capabilities of Azure Media Services, perhaps without having to code right away. So I invite you all to go to this URL, http://aka.ms/AMSE, and download the Azure Media Services Explorer tool. And if you do that, you can follow along with me right now. I'm going to go ahead and go into that tool, and I'm going to demonstrate very quickly how easy it is to take a piece of video content that I have located locally on my laptop here, upload it into the cloud, encode it to a standard format, publish it to an origin streaming server running in Azure right now, and then stream it back to me on this laptop. And I also am going to try to do that on my Windows phone that I have here. But if you happen to have an Android phone or maybe an iPhone or an iPad handy, you can do this along with me, and you'll experience the same kind of ease of use and power of Azure Media Services. So let's go ahead and give this a try. I'm going to go up to this tab here that says Asset and click and ask the tool to help me upload a piece of video content from my local laptop into the cloud. So I'm going to take this HoloLens video that was done from the last build conference and when that was released that I happen to have on my laptop. I'm going to click to upload that file from my local computer into my cloud storage account. And I don't know if you can read this, of course, but of course it's uploading very, very quickly. I have a very good connection here in the studios, which is great. and it's already done. Now that file exists in my storage account in Azure. I'm going to go ahead and go back to the screen, and now here's that file. And I'm going to do the second step of the process, which is to encode the file. Now, encoding is important because, as you well know, there are many different kinds of video sources all over the industry. If you're a premium broadcast customer, that perhaps a movie studio or a broadcasting network, or maybe you're a production house, you probably are working in very high resolution, very high quality video content, and you're producing that content in a variety of different source formats. You might also be a corporate entity or marketing department that produces video content in a set of different formats. And then, of course, you might very well just be a consumer of video content and a builder of one yourself, maybe using your mobile device to create user-generated content of yourself skiing down a mountain or biking around town. So regardless of the kind of video content that you have, and regardless of the source format that you have, we offer a variety of encoding capabilities to transform that video content into a standard and streamable video file. So that's what you see here with this tool, and of course represented within Azure Media Services. So I'm just going to go ahead and kick off an encode job with the tool, but all of this would be available to you via an API or even the Azure portal, which is available at azure.com. Now, it's going to ask me, what is the kind of quality that I would like to encode this file to? Now, today's standard that most of our customers are using today are what we call adaptive bitrate encoding. That is to create the file in a way that can be streamed down to any device, regardless of what network or what type of device it's on, in a variety of different bitrate qualities. So if you happen to be sitting at a Starbucks, you can watch it very nicely. Or if you're on a high quality LAN, you could watch it in high resolution as well. So I'm going to kick this off right now and launch an encoding job. And what you'll see in the user interface here is that that job is going to be submitted to a queue located at one of our Azure data centers around the world. And that processing will begin as soon as the encoder farm picks it up. Now, what's nice about Azure, of course, is that I, as the consumer, as the user of Azure, get to decide how quickly I want that job to be done. I can also decide where in the world I would like it to be done, depending on where my customers are or where my content is. And of course, as you know, Azure is located in regions all around the world. And Azure Media Services is available in each and every one of them. So that's a very powerful thing. Now, I have for my account set up only one reserved unit for encoding. That means that I can only do one job of encoding at a time. But if you're a customer that has perhaps 1,000 or 10,000 or maybe even 100,000 video files, all of which that require encoding in the cloud, you can absolutely do that by just adding parallel encoding units. And that's all available and information available on our website. So this is going to eventually kick off and run a processing job. But you know what? We don't have to wait for that to get done because, hey, I've already encoded the file just prior to starting this session. So we can go down here and utilize this one. But I promise you, I'll go back to the other tab to prove to you that the encoding has happened. But for purposes of now, let's go ahead and look at this encoded file that I now have. I have encoded it to a multi-bitrate MP4, which is a standard streamable format. And now I'm going to publish it so that anyone in the world whom I choose to make it available to can see it. I do that by creating a streaming locator, a URL that's specific to the video that I'm publishing here. And it'll just come up and ask me a bunch of questions like, when would I like this to be made available? And is there a date in which I don't want it to be available anymore? But I'll just go ahead and let this locator exist for a year from today. And it's going ahead and publishing that file to our streaming farm that's available through Azure Media Services. By the way, I don't know if you noticed that a new object just popped into the screen here, which is the encoded file that I submitted previously. I can go back to my Jobs tab and just show you that, look, that encoding job has completed. And the tool even tells me that it took 1 minute and 43 seconds to complete, which is pretty good given that the video itself is 1 minute in length. So you can see that's just slightly more than the length of the time of the video file. And that's precisely what we're trying to offer to our customers is high-performant cloud-based encoding. Now, with that file published, I am now able to view it. Now, viewing it means streaming it from a device that requests to watch the video from the cloud. Now, this tool, the Azure Media Services Explorer tool, comes with a playback option already available to the tool. You can see that right here. It says playback with the Azure Media Player. Now, one thing I'm very proud of is the fact that we have made available to our customers for no cost to our customers of Azure, this Azure Media Player, a player which can allow you to play a video from the cloud on any device that you try it on, really simplifying how you can quickly get your videos in the cloud, get them encoded, get them published, and play back and expand your audiences rapidly without you even having to develop a player client or a native application. I'm going to go ahead and kick that off by clicking on the Azure Media Player. And what you will see very quickly is that it's bringing up this website with the embedded player in it, and it's accessing my video. And here it is. This is the very HoloLens video that I just uploaded to the cloud. This is the Azure Media Player embedded in an HTML web page running on my Windows 10 laptop. And that's very exciting. But of course, our customers would want to redesign the page to put the player on whatever branding or skinning of their environment to make the experience their own. Now, I know you're thinking, yeah, you had the video file running on your laptop before, and now you're just playing it again locally, not from the cloud. Well, I hope you're not thinking that. But just in case you are, I want to demonstrate another key aspect of both the Azure Media Services Cloud as well as this Azure Media Player that I'm demonstrating now. I'm going to take this really long URL, which is the URL of the video that's housed and streaming from the cloud, and I'm going to cut that and go over to a sort of a URL shortener website, like, something like Bitly. Let's go ahead and bring up Bitly. I think most of you are familiar with that. And when I get to Bitly, I'm going to go ahead and paste that URL into the Bitly tool, and it's going to come back with this shortened address. If I quickly go here, there is the shortened address. Now, for those of you in the audience who want to give this a try, I'm going to do this right here in the studio. I'm going to pull out my handy-dandy Windows phone, and I'm going to go ahead and type that Bitly address into my phone. Let's see if I can make sure I get it right with all the proper letters. 1URJOQP, and then go ahead and launch that. And what am I doing? I am bringing up the Azure Media Player on my Windows phone to play the video that I just uploaded. It's a little loud, but I'll turn it down. Now, for those of you with iOS devices or Android devices or any other kind of browser beyond Edge or IE or Chrome or Safari, this demonstrates the flexibility of being able to use the cloud and the player. I'll go ahead and turn this down now, to distribute your content on any device. And if you'll notice, if I go back to my Azure Media Services Explorer, I have only uploaded the file once, I have only encoded the file once, but I am able to play it on multiple devices. This is a very powerful, valuable, and important part of Azure Media Services. The ability for you to really optimize the workflow and get your content onto as many devices as possible. So, with that in hand, let's just go back here and review. All these capabilities are part of Azure Media Services, uploading your content to the cloud and storing it there, using file-based cloud encoding. One step that I did not demonstrate, but I would invite you to go look at, is all of the ways that you can encrypt and protect that content or provide authentication to your content so that if there are certain ways that you want to make that content available, maybe I require a login, maybe I require you to pay me money for my content. We offer those kinds of tools and capabilities in the cloud. The fourth area I demonstrated to you was what we call dynamic packaging, which is using the cloud to automatically reconvert the content so it plays on any device or browser that you try it on. I showed you streaming. Now, of course, if I happen to be located in a remote location, so not here at the Microsoft Studios, but perhaps somewhere far away, perhaps in the desert or somewhere nowhere near where there is a Microsoft connection to the data center, using our Azure CDN is a very powerful way to get your content distributed anywhere in the country or the world. And then lastly, the Azure Media Player, that embeddable cross-platform player that I just showed you, that really simplifies how quick it is to get and use these capabilities. Now, the second really primary area that you see Azure Media Services being used in, apart from these portals or sharing this entertainment or news content, is around live and live events. Live is very, very popular right now. The idea that you can participate in an event that's happening anywhere in the world and you are watching it, streaming it live. In the past, this has been a very expensive proposition. Providers of the live content would have to set up satellite trucks and satellite time, then figure out the infrastructure necessary to provide that content to you. But this is no longer the case, because now we are able to use the cloud to provide you with live capabilities. So imagine, if you will, that a live event is taking place in your own company. For example, maybe the CEO is giving a town hall meeting, or perhaps your son or daughter is participating in a basketball game at their high school. Imagine the ability of you hooking a camera up to a laptop or a desktop, then connecting that up to the cloud, and then using the cloud to distribute that live event so that anyone around the world watching your content on any device can participate in that live event, no different than if you yourself were a broadcast network. Really changing how we are using the cloud to distribute live streaming events. So we are seeing a great preponderance of our customers using the cloud for doing sporting events, broadcast television programming, even industry events or industry conferences, and much, much more. Here's a few examples that I pulled that we just did in the last year. For example, the Super Bowl that just occurred back in February, streaming on Azure Media Services and the cloud. The FIFA World Cup for worldwide soccer, car racing, such as NASCAR or F1 car racing, or even the Olympics, which happen every 2 years, all of which have been streamed very successfully using the Azure cloud as the infrastructure and the capability of doing that. But here are some other ones that might be more close to some of the ones that you are working with today. For example, when Microsoft does industry events like the Build Conference or other sorts of events for our customers and our partners, we are providing it live streaming so that you can participate and watch them as needed, all streaming through the Azure cloud. In the lower left here, I have an example from my friends in Tokyo, Japan. Fuji Television Network, a major broadcaster of content in Japan, is using the cloud now to add new channels that air 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, but streaming it through the cloud. I even am able to dial into what Fuji Television Network is doing right now. Let me go ahead and bring that up. Just allow me to get to the right box. And here we go. You are seeing a live stream of what Fuji Television Network's channel called Next Smart is airing right now at this time. And they are streaming this to anyone in Japan on a mobile device or on a PC who subscribes to watch this content. And often what I'll see on this channel will be sporting events, music concerts, localized news events, interviews, or other things. In this way, Fuji Television Network is able to create live channels instantaneously using the cloud. And if they want to create more channels because they have more programming, they are quickly able to do that using Azure Media Services. A very exciting, very powerful way to use the cloud to really drive new revenues and get new audiences on new services. And I couldn't be more pleased and proud of what our colleagues at Fuji Television Network and broadcasters like them are doing. In the lower right-hand corner, I did bring an example of probably something that is one of the most unique uses of live streaming of Azure Media Services, and that is doing medical training by streaming live surgeries. I know many of you have attended hackathons in the past, but you've never attended one quite like this, quite literally a medical hackathon explaining robotic surgery for doctors and medical students all around the world by participating in a live streaming of events at hospitals that take place and using Azure Media Services to help power that application. A very exciting and new use of the cloud And I dare say, I suspect it's going to be a very common one in the near future about how we educate and train and work with each other. So when I add these capabilities to the previous list, now I'm talking about live encoding, encryption and authentication of live television services, the ability to even pause live TV, record live TV, and clip live TV and share that with your customers or with your partners, and to be able to stream that en masse. And this is very key because, of course, you never know how many people are going to be watching your live event. If it's particularly popular, you might have an audience of millions. That's precisely what the cloud can offer you, the stability and the guarantee that our streaming capabilities plus our Azure CDN will be there to handle whatever the load of your live event happens to be. Now, lastly, I just wanted to end by pointing out a very new and very exciting part of Azure Media Services and something that we've been seeing quite a lot of activity around, and that's called media indexing. Now, if you haven't heard about this, I invite you to check it out because this is awesome. Using technology that has been developed for years at Microsoft Research, we are able to convert speech to text. And now we're able to offer that to our customers around the world using Azure Media Services indexing. In doing so, what you're able to do is take an entire library of video or audio files, index them, pull out all the spoken words and all of those, and then create for yourself a searchable application. The ability for you to pull out words or phrases and find the videos or the audio clips that contain those words or phrases makes libraries much more relevant to you, and all of those content owners with very large archives of libraries able to monetize or do more with the content that they have. So I brought a couple examples I can show you. One is a company called Veritone. Veritone is a company, and I'm just going to go to their website right now. Veritone takes all of the radio broadcasts that are happening around the United States, for example, indexes them very quickly, almost in real time, and provides a search capability so you can find the news most relevant to you and play those clips. Let's go ahead and go to that website right now. So here I am at veritone.com. And, you know, I was just listening the other day to what's happening with my good buddy Tom Brady of the New England Patriots. I'm a very big Patriots fan, and some good news for Tom Brady and the Patriots fan that we'll be seeing him quarterback our next game. So if I go ahead and enter Tom Brady as a search term in the Veritone website, what it returns for me is everywhere in the broadcasts all around the country that Tom Brady has been said by, for example, a radio commentator or a news host. And then, if I so choose, I can click on one of these hits. Let's see, there's quite a lot of them here. WBZ, right out of Boston. And then I can play back those clips. So what am I listening to? I'm listening to the part of the broadcast where Tom Brady was expressly mentioned in the broadcast. There's the transcript to the right, and I'm listening to the clip of the broadcast, the news broadcast right now. This is a very, very exciting use of the indexer capability. I'm going to go ahead and mute that. You know, some of you might also say, well, couldn't this also be used to automatically create closed captioning? And of course, the answer is exactly yes. If I bring up this video here on this website, what you'll see is I have a video from one of our conferences, and I'm going to go ahead and click on that and unmute. I don't see this get play it. Advanced holographic computer the world has ever seen. So what is this? A video, in this case about HoloLens, was indexed, closed captioning text was created, time coded, and being shown in this display on the screen here. The ability to immediately pull text out of audio programming or video programming is a very exciting part of Azure Media Services, and we are really excited about the direction that this kind of technology is going. I should say that we are not going to just stop with pulling the audio portions out of videos. We're going to be looking at the ability to do faces and object character recognition and pulling out metadata or information from videos and being able to give our customers the ability to search through those video objects, just as you have in the past, always done through documents and spreadsheets. Just to the right here, I couldn't help but notice that we have a government customer who has created astrophysics, a library of astrophysics videos that they have a website called Science Cinema that enables me to do exactly the same thing for physics and astronomy terms. Very exciting if you like that kind of content, but very compelling if you want to find something very specifically about a topic that you're looking for. So there you have it. Azure Media Services, encoding, encryption, and packaging, streaming, CDN, indexing, and a player-client set of technologies that enable you to play your content on any device that you so choose. Our customers around the world who are both in the entertainment space as well as in the information space, the industrial space, corporate, education, and even medical are all taking advantage of how Azure Media Services are really propelling and powering these next generation applications. We couldn't be more excited about this kind of use of the cloud for these technologies, and I invite you to go take a look for yourself. Thank you very much. I'm Martin Wall. Have yourself a great day.